Welcome back to the AM Rewind. I alluded to the fact that maybe I would be breaking down this goal last night on Twitter, and it elicited a pretty powerful response from my followers that this was something that they wanted to see. But I picked Tomas Hertl's goal. It was ended up being the game-winning goal. It was a go-ahead goal in the third period to cap off a three-goal comeback. They scored five straight. As I always like to point out in this, that there was a lot that went into it, and a lot of little things that may not have seemed, that important that allowed the opportunity for Hertl to show his display of skill and show off this move that he's, so clearly capable of, and put him in a position to do this. So, one of which was Mark Stone, huge addition back into their lineup. He's the captain, he's the leader, but he does so many of the little things right, and he plays winning hockey, and this is a prime example of that. So I'll get into this right away, but it starts from an ozone draw. Hertl does a good job of winning this draw. They're trying to make a play. Stone comes around the net, tries to feed Hertl in the middle, ends up turning it over. So now, the first thing I'd like to point out is the willingness for the forwards to get back. You see, as I hit play, Hertl, Carlson, and Stone specifically are going to get back because they know that this is, a turnover is a big part of the game, and they just do things the right way. So if you take a look at Mark Stone here and you look at his route as this goes forward. Now, I'd also like you to notice Caden Korzak's and Dylan Coughlin's a gap here. And you always talk about the importance of tight gaps from a defenseman to back pressure from from the forwards, but this is a prime example of that. You see the space that these Colorado forwards just don't have, and that's what you want. You want to create that sensation, or the actual elimination of time and space. And you've heard me say that a bunch. You hear it all the time in media availability. You hear it from coaches, but this is exactly that. So you get this pressure from Korzak and Coughlin, but then you also get it from behind as well. And what does that do? That makes them feel like they're running out of room, because they are, and it forces a dump, and you have an opportunity to go back, break it out, and get possession again. So they do just that. They dump the puck. Now, if you can take a look at Dylan Coughlin here, I like this play too. So as you're skating back, when you're transitioning as a defenseman, you're skating backwards, you have to transition to forward to go back to get this puck. You're always taught to at least try to slow down the forechecker, so you give it a little bit better of an opportunity for your buddy or your D partner to make a play to you or get out. And so then that way, when he goes back for a puck, he has a chance to make a play rather than just taking a hit and getting, pounded into the glass. So if I back this up, if you look at Dylan Coughlin's, now this is, some coaches call this a skating screen, where you don't want to get an interference call, but you just want to skate in front of that forechecker and slow it down. He does just that. That allows Korzak to get body positioning on the forechecker. They're able to make the play, a little bit of an exchange. Now, Colorado does a good job. Their forecheck, they're notorious for that they get a stop here. It forces them to somewhat regroup. But I like Dylan Coughlin here, him in the corner. Now, he handles this. He has a little bit of poise with the puck. He sees that, that he has three forecheckers that are fairly close to him. But I like that his first steps are north. They're up ice. Now, if he takes his first couple steps and he's going back behind the net, well, then that's just going to invite pressure from all three of these guys. But the fact that he gets his toe caps, his skates facing up ice, it freezes these three forecheckers. And as I hit play, it opens up an opportunity. You see, it forces them to just kind of hold, or at least start skating backwards. He attacks them, and then that opens up that outside lane to his partner. Now, also what I like about this is Korzak, instead of just hanging out in the corner waiting for the play to develop, he gets up ice. He starts skating too. So what that does is it gives him an opportunity. He's got a lot of open ice, the way that Colorado is forechecked. You see, he's got this lane. He gets his feet moving, and then he's able to open up this passing lane to Mark Stone to beat three guys with one pass. And any opportunity that you can do that, I mean, it's a simple numbers game. If you beat three guys, well, then if you know that you have your own forwards in the proper positioning, well, then there's only two guys left, so that's going to automatically create an odd man rush. So he hits Stone in the middle. Now, this is what I was talking about. I tweeted last night. I said that touch play by Mark Stone was incredible, and then that's what I suggested that I would break down, and here we are. But you know, the Colorado defensemen are doing a great job in their tight gaps. You know, we talked about Vegas, those guys doing it on the play just 10, 15 seconds ago. They're doing the same thing. They're doing a really good job. But what I'd like to take note in is that Mark Stone being stationary in this middle spot. Now, if you look at his post game media availability, he was just looking to get off the ice. He wanted to make the touch play. He saw Hertl coming underneath. He just wants to get off the ice. He said he never even saw the goal. He just got back to the bench and the whole place went nuts. So, but the fact that he's there, what this does to Malinsky, this makes him just honor that play and holds him in the middle of the ice. Now, if for whatever reason Korczak was able to find this seam, and if that were available, it's not because of Colorado's forecheck, but if he were able to find that seam, now that would allow Malinsky to sort of shift his momentum to the outside. And I'm not saying that he could meet the puck there, but he would be there, he'd be solid, he'd be steady, and it would put him in a little bit better position to be able to absorb that rush. But instead, with Stone here, and this, he makes this play look so easy, and it's not. But that's what Mark Stone does. But that little touch to speed, to Hertl underneath, that puts Malinsky in a tougher spot. Now, when you have a shift of where the puck is, you have a cross ice play. Well, then that is required of the two defensemen, the partners. You have to shift over to apply that pressure. So with that shift from Malinsky, he's almost leaving the middle of the ice, and as a defenseman, you want to protect the middle of the ice, but he's forced to go over there and challenge Hertl. So if that play had been over there, you'd be able to address it a little bit easier. But the fact that his momentum is going outward towards Hertl, and what do you want to do as someone on offense? If you can get to the middle of the ice, you exponentially increase your chance of scoring. You know, it's much easier. It's a much better percentage play. So he's able to capitalize on Malinsky's momentum going outward, and he's able to go against the grain. And he knows, and these top guys, these top offensive guys, they're just waiting for a defenseman to make the first move, to go one way so they can go the other. I believe that that's what Hertl is doing in this particular play. He waits for Malinsky to commit, to try to make a play, stick on puck. And this is just an incredible move. I mean, this had happened to me countless times. So this is nothing against Malinsky, but sometimes good players make good plays. But just the fact that he's able to pull this in tight and then actually execute that move and drive out of it. You see how wide his base is. To be able to come out of that just from an athletic standpoint and maintain your speed is just incredible. But he makes that move, and then that quick shot. Now, I think that this shot probably caught Wedgwood off guard, because oftentimes when a guy is able to beat one guy and he almost has, a mini breakaway, more times than not, he's probably going to try to make a secondary move, but here he doesn't. And then just a huge goal in the hockey game. But this is just such an overall an awesome goal, because it started from doing things the right way, and that's what Vegas has been doing. That's the addition of Stone back into your lineup. That's what it provides. It's winning hockey. It's the little things that oftentimes make the biggest difference, and they're easy to miss. So that's why I thought that this one was such a good opportunity to show that. But then all of a sudden, Vegas in a series that most of the public didn't have them favored, they now find themselves one win away from the Stanley Cup final, and it's little things like this that allow them to be in that position. And I'm excited for Game 4.